Stranger Things finale has a massive problem that I didn't know how to verbalize before, and I thought I liked it at first, but the more I think about it, the worse it becomes. It's not the 50-minute epilogue or the fact that everyone carried on life as usual, it's actually how one specific character was treated. So obviously, spoiler warning. It's about her. We, the viewer, are given the choice to decide whether she lived or died, and you know what, I'll say she's definitely alive, because these characters have had theories about everything, and they've been right every single time, so I'm not going to draw the line here. But I do need to discuss the theming of this, because effectively, this is one of the deaths in the final episode, and it has been so thoroughly and disgustingly mishandled. I hope you will understand what I'm saying by the end of the video. So before the ending of this, I actually thought there was one scene that I thought was actually handled well, and I want to play that scene a little.
I'm alive, and so is Henry. I have to end the cycle.
Childhood was taken from you. You've been attacked. Fight for that day that you have a kid of your own. And you give her the life that you never had.
I tried to cut it short, hopefully it made sense. This scene was so impactful in my view compared to anything else Hopper has said, because typically when he talks about not wanting to lose Elle, it's actually in quite a selfish way. Not to say that he's evil, but it's in quite a selfish way where he is worried about losing his kid. This is like the first and only time that he's actually framed it in a way where Elle's survival is for the benefit of Elle. That it is crucial that she keeps fighting because she can make it to the other side and things can go right. It's about assuring her that there is a world for her to actually live her life out in, no longer about the fact that she's his daughter, but actually about her. So while he's still being very, very protective, this scene at the very least is actually about her agency. The other thing I wanted to talk about before I move on to the next scene that I was going to show is that she mentioned at the start of that about breaking the cycle. That is important. We are talking about abuse, the cycle of abuse that seems to never end. So here's a clip from the next scene that actually started to bother me like I think 20 minutes later or so.
But I'm not a kid anymore. And I'm not Sarah. And I need you to trust me to make the right choice.
Now, if you asked me what I thought years ago, I thought this show would end with her dying. This is the truth. But my view on this had changed because of the reintroduction of Callie, basically saying you'll need to kill yourself on that day of the fight. And the fact they've now had this conversation where Elle is asking for the trust that she will make the right decision. Then I thought, for me as a viewer, it would make sense to actually assume that maybe she would find a way, right? I don't know how yet. I don't know how, but she would find a way. Because before we had a conversation where Hopper was actually talking about Elle's potential life and her agency, and Elle's gone, no, I'm actually an adult, I'm going to make a decision to kill myself. I don't know if you understand this, but we mentioned breaking the cycle of abuse. This is, the theming is about suicide. Even if they try to frame it as self-sacrifice, this is about suicide. And then it's somehow rammed down our throat for the rest of the episode, like Elle obviously pulls Mike into her mind to be like, you need to make sure the others understand my decision. And then Hopper sits down with Mike, like, way later, 18 months later, and is like, you can either live in the past and think that it's your fault, you can go in the future and understand the choice you made. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. You have to understand that what this show portrayed as its final underlying message, the end of her character arc, is I'm going to make a decision that in order to break the cycle, the only way to break the cycle is to kill myself. That is fucked up. This has left me so hollow. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm overreacting. I don't think I am though. I think this is actually disgusting. And before you come at me, some people have wanted more deaths throughout. It makes sense if there's a narrative purpose behind it, right? I don't want it to just be a bloodbath for the hell of it, right? Like, there was obviously that little fake-out death where Steve was, like, hanging from the edge and then fell, and it's like, oh my god, Steve might have died here. Thank god he didn't. That would have served no narrative purpose right there. Why do I think it would have made sense for Jonathan to die earlier in the season? Well, because then they would actually have impacts on future events, where I think Jonathan was actually the person that needed to hear about Will's coming out the absolute most, and yeah, it would have been a different dynamic if he wasn't there, so it would have served some sort of narrative purpose to see how Will has to cope with that fact. But Elle, the character that deserved to live the absolute most, is dead, and more importantly, the messaging behind it is literally diabolical. Anyway, I'm in shock. I'm shocked by it. Also, there's so much other stuff to discuss, like, there were so many problems, but I don't even care. This one's the worst of them all, by far.